everyone, and welcome to our podcast today. Today, we'll be talking about women's sense of self worth. This topic has a lot of subtopics, which we'll be taking and discussing one after the other. But right about now, we'll be talking about becoming R, going from girlhood to womanhood without repair. I am Assistant Professor Dr. Mrs. Anthony, and with me here is
Benedict Pala, a registered nurse.
when we talk about becoming R, going from girlhood to womanhood without repair. There's a kind of becoming that doesn't come from healing, but from surviving. So this podcast isn't about perfect resolution. It's about the cracks that never closed, the wounds that didn't heal, and the wisdom that grows away, or sometimes that is being cracked for not being strong about. So when we talk about girlhood, it teaches us how to shrink, how to be nice, how to stay quiet. Womanhood, when it arrives, does not come with instructions. Often, it's a battlefield we enter already bruised, dragging pieces of ourselves we were never taught to be loved. But still, we have to become. So that is what we are going to be talking about today. So becoming R is not a polished revolution. It's messy, it's unseen, and it's brave. So we have to own it.
Yeah.
Even in our bruisedness, even in our brokenness, we still have to own it. It's about forging identity,
Mm-hmm.
the identity we want to be identified for, what we want to be known for.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to forge it to become it. So it's from identifying the fragment, claiming womanhood without having been given the tool to build what womanhood is, because we are learning from the cracks that we were built of to become solid, to become whole. So we speak to the woman who never fully held, yet learned how to hold themselves, the woman who are still learning. We are hired and relentless, the ones who carry the weight of girlhood like a second skin and keep walking away. So here we don't ask you to be whole before you begin. We honor the becoming as it's unfixed, unrushed, and unapologetic. This is for every woman who is growing up without ever having felt grown. Welcome to Becoming R. So, Miss Benedict,
Yes.
what do you think about this topic?
This topic is really interesting. Knowing the place we are living, we are currently in North Cyprus, where there are a lot of students that are coming very young. I'll take my own example. I came here at 18 and I left
quite
my
young.
parents' house at 17.
Wow.
So I basically grow on my own without so much repair. So
Without so much repair.
of course,
Because you grew to be a woman from the brokenness that you had to deal with from the age 17
Mhm.
and growing to adulthood, womanhood,
Exactly.
without any equipped tool. So, do you want to share with us how you've been able to handle this process?
Exactly. The first thing was the basic I got from home.
Okay.
Like I had a basic education, but that education I've been combined with what I've seen around me. Coming to Cyprus is different from growing at home because in Cyprus you meet different culture with different way of doing things and you have to learn from it. You take the good and the bad. Sometimes you don't know what is good and what is bad because it's not because something is different from what you are taught at home that it's a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn how to grow on my own. I had to learn how to, for example, take care of a house on my own without my mom saying, this
This
is
is how to do it.
it's bad. Yeah. I had to learn how to say no to a lot of things, knowing that I didn't have that family protection anymore. As a girl living alone, there are a lot of things that will come on your way.
Yeah.
I had to know how to balance school and life. I had to know how to understand the change that are coming on in my life and in my body as a woman also. All knowing that I was all alone. So it was an interesting journey. And I think that a lot of girls get lost in that journey because there is not really a balance or somebody to take you through that journey, especially in Cyprus.
And most especially for a fact that you have that freedom. So if you as a child or as a girl come in and you are not equipped to know what you don't have, let's say, that roadmap, that map to tell you what to do or what not to do at a particular time, there's a tendency that you'll be broken and not being able to be fixed.
Yes, exactly. Because the most important is the basic you got, the way you grew up at home. I will talk about African community because I'm coming from an African country. There are lots of subjects that are taboos. And you are living in a place where some subjects are taboos. You didn't really learn about it. You didn't have time to discuss about it with your parents. And you come to a place where you have freedom to do all those things.
You talk about an example of the topics you feel were taboos. You know, when we are talking about African countries now, each countries now have their own culture, which of course we found a common ground to be called Africa, and we have some things that unite us. But of course, from each country to each country, we have some kind of culture that is particular to each country. So you might want to share with us the things that you feel were taboos that were not supposed to be discussed.
I will take a basic example.
Okay.
That's something that shocked me when I came to Cyprus.
Okay.
In my own place, especially in my town, it's really rare to see a girl outside of the house after 7 p.m.
Oh, but in Cyprus, nobody's going to
Oh,
call you.
exactly.
So if you like, you do 24 hours, 48 hours.
I started seeing girls, for example, sleeping in their boyfriend's house. That was a shock for me. So when knowing that I'm coming from a place where I cannot freely talk about having a relationship to a place where I see girls sleeping at their boyfriend's place, I'm a bit lost. At first, I didn't understand the difference of culture where it's not that's of a big deal, but for me, it's a big deal. Knowing where I'm coming from and knowing the taboo that is around that topic.
Okay.
So I needed to find the balance between not judging and understanding. And it's not because something is good for others that it's good.
Good for you. But what helped you to be able to identify this was the first training you got from home before you left home at the age of 17.
Exactly.
And this also boils down to parents, the kind of teachings they give to us.
Exactly.
Yes, the parents would give us the teachings. Also, it boils down to the children. Some of the children, yes, they have good backgrounds, but when they come home, they throw it away. Most of them, it's not because they don't want to understand it, but because of the parenting style.
Exactly.
Some parents did not, most African parents, they punish rather than correct.
Exactly.
For instance, I have a child. If I'm going to take away my son's iPad, I'm going to tell him, or if I'm going to take him away from screen for some time, I'm going to say, I'm taking you away from screen today because you did this, so that it will understand why he's being punished. But growing up, they just spank you for nothing.
Exactly.
Not even this modern parenting we are doing right now, you understand? They just spank you and you have to figure it out why you are being spanked or why you are being told to kneel down for 2 hours or something and not teaching you what to do. So, yes, some parents or some children might not really understand it, or maybe coming from a very, very strict background where freedom was something they were tasty for.
Exactly.
So when they got to North Cyprus, they had that freedom in abundance and they felt, let me go out there to really explore and use that freedom. And on their way going or in the midst of using that freedom, they get broken and unable to be repaired. So I would say that, yes, parents should also do more. And of course, as a child, especially when you are still in your teen, try to identify yourself.
Yes, to that I can add that the role of parents is really important. In our African community, the problem is parents are just telling you what to do. The difference with what my parents did is they explain to you what they are telling you to do, and they are
And why you should do it.
yeah, and they are leaving you to take the final decision at the end. Like they will want you to take a decision, even if, like, for my studies, for example, they just suggested, and they were like, take the decision. When you're taking the decision, you need to explain why you took that decision.
I think
So-
this is something that we really need to point out too, because even if we are not parents, all of us are not yet parents, we are going to become parents someday. So I think it's something that we need to pay attention to. We should not punish, but correct. And what the difference is that when you are telling a child not to do something, just don't say, don't touch that fire. Say, don't touch the fire because it's going to burn you. And when it burns you, you are going to get a boo-boo in your hand. And I'm sure that's the simplest way you can explain that to a child. And they understand, because in most of this cartoon, they understand what bobo is. So they don't want to get, or they know the pain. So
Exactly.
you have to explain to them why they should not do something, so that this
Exactly.
is going to be the lesson they are going to learn from it, and it's going to help them to grow. But when you're saying to them, of course, in African homes, they'll tell you that don't
Don't touch.
don't sit beside a boy, you get
Yes.
pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the thing, you know?
Exactly.
So when I come to Cyprus, I'll be like, I'm sitting beside a boy.
Mm.
And so I can use that and I'll not get pregnant.
Exactly.
But I believe if the parent had gone ahead to say, it's not about sitting, it's not about shaking, but it's about having a sexual intercourse, and explain to them what it is and the danger in doing it, I believe a lot of children will not want to experience it and learn from their own experience.
And give them also the sense of responsibility, like knowing to take their own decision, their own choice, and understanding. For example, when we are going to church, most of us were going to church because our parents were saying going to church. How many of us are still going to church in Cyprus?
Exactly.
Like when we become adults, we are not going to church anymore to please our parents, but we need to understand what we are going to do there. So explaining to the child the sense of responsibility, the sense of the choice. Like when I'm telling you not to do this, it's for this reason. And if you do this, it's this. These are the advantage and disadvantage. So choose between the two. The child needs to understand that their lives is between their hands, not the hands of the parents. So, like, it's surprising that we are having strict parents, and then at the age at 18, 17, 19, that sending you out of your country, out of your continent so far. A child that didn't have the sense of responsibility, of course, will get lost because it was in a system where the parents were taking the decision, were leading, and doing everything. So the parents need to give that sense of responsibility to their children also.
Yes, this sense of responsibility you're talking about. I met a student and he was doing a particular course before, and he said he wanted to change to another course. And I was like, and it was different. Say somebody who was doing, I can't really remember, but it was very different faculty. Very, say for instance, the person was doing maybe accounting before, and the person is coming to say, I want to switch to maybe architect.
Oh,
You know, it's very far. It's not even the same faculty. Then I go ahead to say, why do you want to switch? He says, because my mother says if I don't switch, she's not going to pay my school fee
oh
again.
wow.
Because that is what my mother is doing currently. That's her field, so she want me to do. So parents should not make the
Reflect
decision, their life, or what they wish to become in their child. They should help them to make a better decision. Because at the end of it all, these children will just go ahead and be lost
Yes,
and never be found.
and they should allow their children to make their own mistakes. We see it in some. We are talking about women. We see it in some women. There are some girls that doesn't know how to say no or have some boundaries because they were so close at home. They were not exposed to some certain things. That's when they get to a place where they're exposed to it. They don't know what are the boundaries.
How to identify which is good for them
Exactly.
at a particular time. Yes, exactly.
And they can be influenced by anything.
Anything, yeah. So having the opportunity to say their mind and be able to stand firm on whatever decision it is. So as a young lady, we are saying that pick yourself from that tender age.
Exactly.
Know what you want.
Exactly.
With coupled with the teachings and training your parents are giving you. And not everything that seems as glitters is actually gold.
Exactly.
And so you have to own you, identify you, know what you want. And of course, freedom is good, but of course, it can be dangerous. So that is my own take home from my own side. Would you like to say something?
Me, I can tell the ladies to learn how to, they should know themselves first before looking to discover the world. Because when you are trying to know about what is around you, you can lose yourself. So know yourself, find your balance before going into the world. Because like you said, so much freedom can be dangerous also. So it's important to know your boundaries, what you like, what you don't like before making big decisions for your life.
And finally, to parents, we would like to advise, and those who will become parents, we would like to advise that you should teach rather than, or you should correct rather than punish your children. And correcting means that you are telling them what they have done or why you are going to punish them and the consequences of what they are doing. So, thank you very much for joining us, and stay tuned for the next topic. Welcome back. And this podcast still remains Women's Sense of Self-Worth. So our next topic is adopting and evolving in life. I still remain my humble self, Assistant Professor Dr. Mrs. Anthony. And with me here today is...
Neka.
So what do you have for us today? What can you say about this topic? Adopting and evolving in life as a woman.
Adaptation in life, specifically as a woman, it's strange and it's challenging because we live in a society where things are changing every day. And to be honest, being a woman is a little tough because you're the one that has to carry pregnancy.
Mm,
You're the one that has to go through all the hormonal changes. You have to, and change is constant. You have to adjust accordingly
of course.
and live and evolve. So, in a society where adaptation is constantly happening, it puts a lot of pressure on us as women. And following the first topic, most times we women do not even know how to go through these things. We just get into adulthood and we are like, oh,
We are surviving in it.
this is it. Very few times do they tell you, oh, okay, they tell us get married.
But it doesn't come with a manual.
It doesn't come with a manual. Marriage does not come with a manual.
That's any institution you get your certificate from the start.
Exactly. You have no idea what is going on. Even if people have spoken and spoken and spoken, but our experiences are unique. Are unique to
You're right.
every single person. And we know that pregnancy is not the same.
It's also relative to individual.
And it also relates to evolving. Because you may have this pregnancy today and the next pregnancy
Might not be the same.
It may seem weird or strange, but this is life. This is how female. This is what they tell us, that if you may have this pregnancy, then there's no maybe nausea, there's
Of
no
course.
vomiting.
Of course.
Then the next one will come with a lot of challenges.
Of course.
So as women, we are to live this life and enjoy it. We have to learn to adapt and change. But sometimes evolving or changing may seem like you're rebelling. It's not supposed to be like a rebellion. Because me changing or accepting myself or getting to know myself and evolving in this life should not come to maybe my parents or my partner as me resisting. It's getting to know me,
Even you.
living me, and understanding that me adapting and changing is me getting to the best version of myself that can so be the best partner to you or to my
Best child.
evolving in life would move from you can get pregnant, you're at home, and then you have to go back to work. You can be a single person.
For instance,
Life.
I resumed work 2 weeks after I gave birth.
Wow.
2 weeks, and it was a CS section.
And you did yes.
I did CS, so it was when I sit at work like this. I have a friend. He's not more in Cyprus. He's not in UK. Whenever he comes to my office, be like,
Because of how you used
because the way I sit, I had to use a pillow because of the pain and all the rest. But I have to be there. I need the job. Because the job comes with scholarship for me. I was doing my PhD then. So even if not the pay, but the scholarship was important. But I had to learn how to cope with that, understanding that I also have a family to keep. I resumed work, and I also had to write my qualifying exam to say 2 weeks after giving birth. So I had to learn how to cope within those periods.
You had to evolve.
I have to evolve. So I have to learn how to be a mother, to be a student, to be a worker. My mother was around. I had to understand how to be a child to my mother, a good child to my mother, to be a good wife to my husband. So it was a lot of things. So if without their strength and their support and their understanding, I might not. And don't forget, postpartum depression was also there.
Wow.
So I was dealing with a lot. I remember there was a student who came to after some time, after 2 years of my birth, so I had this topic I was discussing. I think it was organizational behavior. I can't really remember. Yes, organizational behavior. And there was this topic we had, perception. So there was this student who spoke about, I was asking them, what do you think about perception? What do you feel? So a student spoke up and she said the first time she met me that I was pregnant. That the student, and she wanted to come and register. And the people in my office were, I asked them and I said, if you don't speak English, why are you here? Go to prep school. And immediately she heard that from me. She was like, who is this woman? How can she just tell people if you don't speak English, go to prep school? That she was scared. Then came COVID, we have to switch to
Online learning.
online learning. And when she saw the name and she was so scared, like, this woman, no. Then when she came to my class online, we were speaking, and from my tone, she saw that, no, this is not this woman. She needed to go online, to go and to the school website to check. I'm like, she's the same person, but she's different. Then she now understood. You understand? She was not there before. She's just a child. Maybe even as at then, maybe she was less than 17 or 18. I don't know her age then. But she did understand me at that
time.
But when she had a real encounter of me, who I really was, I was outside of that sphere.